things that we have always wanted to do with the show. This show is for you, so it's all about making sure that you can create the best content you can. And so we've designed these sessions that we have each morning with the keynotes and also through the conference sessions throughout the day, just to do that, and with that goal in mind, to help you make sure that you're making the best content you can and growing your audience as quickly as you can. But we rely on feedback as well to design it for future years. So feel free to always email me, give me a call, and if you're able to stop me as I'm running around throughout the next couple, 2.5 days, let me know what you think and how we can do better. The keynotes. I always wait to the last minute to announce who the keynotes are, and there's a reason for that, as I always want to find somebody who is pertinent to what's going on at the time. And we're going to ask them some tough questions over the next 2.5 days and talk about how they started their content, how they monetized it, how they're promoting it. In this case, today with Howard Lindzon, we're going to ask about why he sold it to CBS News. So Howard is the creator of Wall Strip, and if you hadn't seen it before, you saw a few episodes of Wall Strip there. But a few months ago, I think it's more than a few months ago, reportedly sold it to CBS News for $5 million, which I think is a nice payday that we'd all be happy to do with some of our shows. So we're going to talk to Howard about how he got started and have some audience questions as well. So please welcome Howard Lindzon. Thanks.
Thanks.
Have a seat. So we're a little bit different for the keynotes this year. We're going to do this kind of therapy style, and I'm going to ask questions and do it kind of as an interview. I do interviews for our podcast, and while I'm no Larry King or Charlie Rose, I'm going to do my best to get some good information from Howard and hopefully get to your questions as well. So, Howard, first of all, I was surprised to learn you're not from the content creation business, you're from the investment firm business. So why do a show?
Well, because it worked out. Why do a show? I have a blog, a financial blog, and I thought I knew my space really well in the sense that financial videos really sucked. And CNBC really was the one place where in the financial space everybody went, and the industry was so dominated by one person within that, which was Jim Cramer, that I felt that there was an opportunity for somebody to prove that you could look at financials in a more irreverent way. And it was a very niche audience, but there was a lot of people with a good demographic, you know, just like tech people, stock people, hedge funds, they're online all day. So there was a really big market for what we were going to try and create.
Then did you start it initially to promote your business, or did you always think of it as a standalone asset?
Yeah, always as a standalone. You can't promote your business. It's not about promoting, you know, my money management business. It's about teaching people about a strategy that I follow, which is stocks that are doing well tend to continue to do well. And so it was really aimed at a strategy which is trend following. And it's worked out really well. I mean, the market's been good, which always helps, but the strategy was meant for people who don't really want to be overwhelmed with financial information, and it was kind of like a one-a-day plus iron. You come to the show, we give you one stock a day, we tell you why we think it's in the pop culture, and then we speculate about whether it can continue, and that's it.
And since you worked in the business, how did you know where to start? How did you hire the camera crew, production company? What did you do?
Yeah, a lot of that was just through blogging and asking, and you know, obviously because it worked out, I think there's a lot of luck involved because I live in Phoenix and everybody else lives in New York, so a lot of travel for me. I felt like you had to shoot it in the streets of New York. You know, you run into people. New York people will engage. You know, they say the craziest stuff, and there was a pool of talent that, you know, people are looking to become famous, so we kind of tapped into that New York underground for actors. You know, some of the actors are really great, and well, all of them are, but I'm saying some of them really have great careers, and they would still help out, and you know, because this was kind of like a cult thing to do.
So you really started, did you have a budget in mind when you first started and said, this is what I'm going to spend on this and no more, or how did that work?
We did. We were unsure. We started last October, and we were unsure, obviously, there were, you know, what it would cost to do a show, but we wanted to keep our budget, you know, somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a show, which was still very high. But that meant paying people, actually. And so I went about raising some money from some people. And you know, that's one of the advantages that I had, is that I know people with money. And not my parents, unfortunately, but I know people with money. And I was sleeping with her at the time, was my wife. No,
so your
this
wife
is kind
is
of
your
how
first
we
investor?
talk. This is kind of how we talk. We don't really have. No, my investor was myself, and then a group of friends who kind of believed in me. I've managed some people's money for a long time, so there was a group of people who just said, "You're just crazy enough to be able to do this." So it was just a blind faith deal, and we raised $600,000, which is a lot of money.
Wow.
And so now my ass was on the line, and we just went from there.
And what was the long-term goal for this? Was it to sell it initially? You thought that would always be the case, or was it just...
I don't want to be famous. I think Lindsay, Adam, and Jeff are great at what they do, and then the rest of the production and editing team. My goal was to prove, you know, kind of create a Saturday Night Live for stocks. You know, the thing about CNBC, for anybody who watches, I think, you know, capitalism, the stock market is one of the greatest things that we have. It's truly, you know, it's the intersection of what freedom is. I mean, you can buy into other companies. And it's not perfect, but it's an amazing thing. And I think what CNBC had become was not that it's not making a fortune. I'm just saying there was an opportunity to say, you know what, they're all about the celebrity of the show, the host, the money manager, the mutual fund manager, you know, the guy with an opinion. Our show is more about the companies that make, you know, that are employing the people, that are doing really well, that could make you money. And so less about opinion, more about the company in a funny, hopefully light way. So.
Did the companies pay you to ever feature them?
And I think that would have been a conflict. I mean, we chose, you know, my strategy is buying stocks that have already hit all-time highs. So not to get technical on it, it's that it was like a positive show, meaning, you know, the people involved in the company are happy to talk to you, their PR departments are happy to talk to you. They're doing something really well. Our first show was Apple, which is, you know, my favorite company. I've owned the stock for 5 years or 6 years. And what I felt was people didn't understand the story. I mean, to catch a stock and to catch a trend, you have to understand the catalyst. And that's kind of what the show tries to talk about. But with Apple, it's their retail stores. So we focused our first show on the store itself. It didn't, to me, matter what they were selling. They were doing retail so well, and they only had 120 stores or 140 stores last year, that I said, if you can, in context, see Apple at 600 stores, which I could easily envision, then I didn't care where the stock price was today. Whereas on TV, they're talking about, oh my God, the iPod was shipped 5,000 less units today than yesterday, and it's just about noise. And I think that intimidates people, and you know, it was purposeful that Lindsay, Adam, and Jeff, and the rest of the crew knew nothing about stocks, because I didn't want them to have an opinion. And when they help write the show, they don't care what the stock's doing. But I know that we're picking it from a list that makes sense.
Now, for Lindsay,